All right. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Team Call. I am very excited and honored to introduce a very special guest who we have tonight. Brittney Howard is a Diamond Ambassador. She is an advisory board member, which is a stinking huge deal because that's like top of the top thing that you can do with corporate, to be a part of just the process of discussing things and making decisions and all kinds of stuff. So she gives a very big input from the field, which is huge. She has been a dear friend we've known each other for probably over 6 years, I believe, going to events together. I've been able to help do trainings, like plan trainings together. And I just love Brittney. She is a very strong, wise leader. She's very insightful and she asks very good questions. They say great leaders ask good questions, and there is truth behind that. So Brittney is the question of all question askers. I always learn from you, girl, and you are always inspiring. So I'm excited for everyone else to be able to hear from you tonight too, and just to go over more of your story. And we're going to kind of ask questions and go back and forth.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. Well, you're the sweetest. I appreciate you having me on. I love your whole team. Guys, you are in good hands with some of the best leaders in Plexus. I call them Jamie, Sue, Sally, and Chris. Like I kind of group them together. Jamie, Sue, Sally, and Chris. And they're all super dear friends of mine. We always get to see each other on Plexus trips, and that's usually when we get to hang out and have conversations, and they're always such good conversations. So you are definitely in good hands with wise, super strong leaders.
Yes, love you, girl. Thank you. So let's get off to you and your story. So I guess kick this off to just sharing more about your story of, going to Diamond, how you started.
Okay, well, how I started was slow. It was off to a rocky start. I was not a fast starter, but I'm a strong finisher. So when I started, I was a homeschool mom of 5, and I'm an introvert. I'm still an introvert, but I didn't have a big network because of that. Like I just always been a stay-at-home mom. I never had a career or anything like that. And I just didn't know a lot of people. And I lived in the middle of nowhere. And this happens to be a people business. So I really did not imagine that I'd be successful at this, but my upline Fallon did. And she really was convinced she was going to be a diamond, and really was convinced that I could be too. And I was like, well, that sounds fantastic. I think I would like to do that. Now, I don't think I really in my heart of hearts believed that I could do that or that I would do that. Even though Fallon did. Like I knew that she just without a shadow of a doubt believed that Diamond was within her reach. But I looked at Diamond like it was for special people. And I didn't really know what made special people special. I just knew that I wasn't that. And I just didn't really think that I was going to go the distance. I mean, I had seen people do things like this all the time, and it just they'd start out gung ho and then kind of fizzle. My mom did Mary Kay when I was a teenager, and she was all gung ho about getting the pink Cadillac and all that jazz. And she would do the parties and stuff, and eventually she just didn't do it anymore. And so I guess that was my experience. And I just honestly did, when I saw what a diamond's paycheck looked like, and guys, I didn't know anybody personally who made that much money. And I don't know, it was inconceivable to me. So Fallon was convinced though. And so I believed her. Like she felt her posture was so strong that she was believable. And so I worked really hard for about 7 months, and I got about halfway to gold. And then I really just thought, I don't think I can do this. Like I don't think there's any way I'm going to be successful at it. I didn't really have full belief in the products. I had customers come and saying products aren't working, or I'm not losing weight, or whatever kind of things that you hear about the products. And it really just killed my belief. And then my belief in myself was already shaky. And then belief in the products, like it just wasn't rock solid. And so I honestly, this sounds terrible to say out loud, but I didn't really think anybody else was going to be successful either, because I thought, well, this thing's going to fizzle. And if my customers are saying this, there's got to be too. I ain't making it up. So I just stopped talking about it. I still used my products, still loved the products, still collected a residual paycheck for a good long while, like a year, while I sat there just watching. And imagine my utter shock when everyone started being crazy successful without me. And it inspired me so much. And a lot of the people I knew personally, just from the time I had worked with them in Plexus, and I was just like, and Fallon included, Fallon started ranking up. And I was just like, I know these people are not different than me. And if they can be successful at it, surely I can figure this out too. My husband encouraged me to do it because he knew that my heart was to bless my family financially. Like I wanted something to do that I could earn income with without having to give up what was the most important to me. And so he encouraged me to jump back in. I listened to a few team calls that really inspired me from some leaders who were jewels in the company, whose stories sounded so much like mine that it really made me think, if they can do this, I can do this. Okay. The thoughts that I've had, or the things that my customers said, okay, these things are normal, but it doesn't have to stop me from being successful. And so that built my belief. And I read a book called Switch on Your Brain that helped me realize that the only thing keeping me from being as successful as I wanted to be was just what I was thinking. It really was all in my own mind. And so with that knowledge, I jumped back in, went all in, decided I was going to do it. And from that point, I went from silver to emerald in 1 year, versus the 7 months before that I had worked really hard and only got halfway to gold. And the only thing that had changed was my mind. My upline had not changed. The comp plan had not changed. The products had not changed. The only thing that changed was what I was thinking. So from that point, I was emerald for 2 years. I was sapphire for 2 years. And then I hit diamond and diamond re-entry in the same month. And now I'd say I'm past double diamond points. And so all of that was a process of about 6 years. So that's how I got to diamond.
I love that. So what stands out to me with that, because so many people can relate to the whole special people thought, right? Like this is for them, or they have to be special. And you brought that full circle with really kind of recognizing that that's not a rational thought. Like these people are just like me and they're doing it. So with our mindset, we have to be able to recognize what is our truth? Like, what are we telling ourselves? What do we want to believe that's truth? Or what is just this thought out there that's holding us back? And that could have held you back, but it obviously didn't. So, and then the posture strong with Fallon, I can absolutely relate to that with, my experience with Tiffany and Fallon, so I think that's a huge difference. When you talk to people, you can go like, hey, we can try this and let's just try and do this together. We'll see what happens. Like, yeah, sure, you could do that. But if you had that doubt, and I had that doubt in myself, then that's going to be much less impactful than someone who has that strong posture and belief for you, and you're going at them with the confidence. So building that is huge and very, very impactful. So thank you, Brittney. Okay. What obstacles or areas of growth did you experience along your journey, and how did you overcome them?
All of them. I feel like every part of this business has been an obstacle for me from the very beginning. Like all of it was out of my comfort zone. Like every part of it. I'm an introvert. I didn't know people. And when the people I did know, I was like, I wasn't just like putting myself out there all the time. Like I was to myself a lot. Okay. So posting on social media, that was hard. IPA was hard. Getting people to work in business was hard. Like it all felt like a challenge in that it drew me out of my comfort zone, but I was hungry for change, and I was willing to learn, and I was willing to do whatever it took because I had vision and I was coachable. And I just was willing to get out of my comfort zone because I knew that's what it was going to take to be successful. So what challenges did I overcome specifically? I mean, I think the biggest things would be fear of what people think. That's a huge one. Definitely that held me back a lot. Like it would hold me back from certain, like posting a certain way. It would hold me back from reaching out to certain people. Like it would just hold me back from a lot. I would say that fear right there holds more people back from their potential than any other fear. It's fear of what people think. Okay. So that one I struggled with a ton, and I overcame it by just doing it scared, because my fear of not reaching my potential, I would say, was greater than my fear of what people would think of me. And so I just was willing to do it scared. And when I would fall into a fear trap or feel discouraged, I mean, I definitely was blessed with an upline who was also a friend who would encourage me. She would always, sometimes she would have to talk me off a ledge, sometimes still does. So that was a big one, fear of what people think. No network was definitely a challenge I had to overcome because I just didn't know anybody. And so almost my whole team, I'd say 99% of my team is cold market. And a lot of the leaders on my team, they would say the same thing. Like I had to learn cold market recruiting. No experience. Like I never had any experience with building a business or with interacting with people, really. I definitely have lots of experience now, but I would say it's just all skills that I've learned along the way. Also wondering like if this was ever going to happen, like Diamond, is that ever going to happen? Because sometimes it honestly felt like it never would. Sometimes it did feel like I just would have so much self-doubt and just would wonder, like, even if I did get to Diamond, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth the energy and the time and the resources that I have put into this? Will it be worth it? So just all of these thoughts, a lot of mindset issues, that would be the biggest, along with the fact that I had no network when I started.
Mm-hmm. That's all those things that you mentioned are like basically excuses that could hold anybody back. I mean, everyone I'm sure can relate to something that you said or everything that you said. So that's massive. And what you said, the fear of, you can let that fear, whatever it is, the fear that you had, the fear that any of us have, whether that's going to be what's most important or the fear of not reaching your potential. Like you said, that's huge. That's huge. And if everyone would really sit in that and realize that they are making that conscious decision to not move forward, that's what they're choosing. I think that hopefully a lot of people would realize and make a different choice, right? If you actually really thought about that, that's not something that you would choose some fear of man over, your potential and what you're capable of and how God can use you, right?
Right. Yep.
Love it, girl. Okay. So this kind of moves into how has your belief, your mindset, your leadership, how has that changed over the course of your journey or even, before you even started?
So that's a great question. I would say my belief has changed because now I have developed confidence in myself. I'm a firm believer in the compound effect because I have seen it take place in my own life and business many times. And also I've seen it happen on my team over and over and over. So compound effect. I mean, I went from wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I desperately wanted to develop jewels on my team. Guys, I went to Hawaii 3 times by myself with nobody from my team. And then when I finally went back the 4th time, I had like 10 people, 10 jewels. No, I had 1 jewel. And then the 4th time, no, the 5th time, it was 10. Okay. So I realized that it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It was just time in the game. And I mean, I definitely had things to learn, but looking back, I realized I was doing a lot of things right. It just was it was timing for some people. And yeah, a lot of it was just timing. So I've developed confidence in myself because now I have results to show that what I was doing was right. It was the right things. And not only that, I will say a huge thing that has boosted my confidence, even beyond Diamond, is being on the advisory board because I mean, literally they want my opinion before they make decisions. And I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, if they want my opinion, then maybe my opinion is smart. So I that definitely has developed my confidence.
And they're going to
And
get your opinion.
they do get my opinion. They do get my opinion. Sometimes they might wish they hadn't asked my opinion, but most of the time is good. So my belief has changed because I'm definitely way more confident than I have ever been, like in my life, and not just like in my business, but like with my, like at this point my kids are growing up. My oldest son's 20, he's married. I see the fruit. Like sometimes building a business can be like parenting. Like you don't really know for certain if you're doing it right until like years down the road, right? And so that's kind of the season I'm in. Like I realized I was doing it right. Okay. So I'm definitely way more confident. Mindset has changed because I've learned to think like a successful person. It is a fact that successful people think differently than people who are not successful. And when I started, I thought like a person who was not successful, but I've developed myself to the point of someone who thinks like a successful person. And lo and behold, I'm a successful person. So my mindset has definitely changed to the point, like I said, where people ask my opinion. And my leadership has changed just because I've gained a lot of experience. I wouldn't say my methods have changed a ton, but I have a lot more leadership knowledge that has come through experience and just evaluated experience, just what I've learned through the years of doing this over and over. So
love that. Outside of those three areas, outside of experience, because a lot of that's spot on. I think it comes through, you do the things and you see the fruit and you gain that confidence, you gain the mindset changes and the skills for leadership. Outside of that, is there anything else that helped you grow in those areas, or just specific? I know you're huge with books, so, and I know people always love book recommendations. So specific books in some of those areas that have made a big difference.
yeah. So there's lots of books and it would be hard to narrow it down, but it's not just books. I would say, honestly, I think it's a daily habit of growing and learning. And I've been talking about this to my Jules today and to my team last week too. This has really been on my heart because we're reading Atomic Habits, but every single big, huge success is always made up of a whole lot of small, wise choices, day in, day out, wise choices. And I would say the most profitable habit that I have, and I've had it for 20 years, is learning something every day. I crave learning. I crave growth and improvement. And I was a teenage mom. I had my oldest son when I was 17 years old, and that's when it started because I was determined that I did not want my son to end up like I did. And so it required humility, but I wanted to, like, I was humble enough to admit I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like that in every area of my life, whether it's raising kids or in a marriage or finances or building a business or leadership. Like, it doesn't really matter. I'm humble enough to know what I don't know. And I crave learning. And so that has been the most profitable by far habit that I've had. I will read something or listen to a podcast every day or watch a training video, go to a class or a seminar. I'm constantly paying for and investing in my learning. And it's rewarding because I have had the habit, I'm able to add value to other people. And so then it just makes me want to learn more so that I can continue to add value to people. So I wouldn't say it's any one book. I'd say it's a lot of books and a lot of podcasts and a lot of the right people in your inner circle. It's really going to be a lifelong process. But if you want to know what books to read, I think you should start with determining who do you want to become. And if somebody could answer that specific question, then I could recommend a specific resource.
Okay, awesome. If you guys have any specific answers to that question, you can pop it in the chat and she could maybe answer that at the end of the call. What I think is so important about what you just said there is because so many times we can get to the point when we are, I mean, even just if you just focus on working this business, right? And you learn skill sets, that's what you're going to be having mindset and skill set stuff all the time. So you're learning skill sets, and we can get to the point where it's like, okay, well, I know this now, or I know that. And you can put it on the wayside thinking that you are good in that area. And we can hinder ourselves if we stop being open to growing, stop being open to learning, not being too overly confident, thinking that we have it all together and we got it, right? Being open to being humble in that area of always wanting to grow and learn more, even as diamonds, no matter, you've never arrived knowing all the things, right? I always say if John Maxwell still has to do personal growth every single day, then certainly we all have to as well, in every area, all the different areas that you mentioned. So I think that's very wise and important.
Totally agree.
All right. Okay, here we go. We might be a few minutes over, but this is one of my favorite questions. So what lessons have you learned from your journey that you would want everyone to know? It might encompass some of what you already said too, but.
Yeah, all of the lessons. Yeah, it's the same answer. All of them. Learned all the lessons you can learn. Just because none of it came natural for me. And like I said, I felt like every part of this business has stretched me and grown me and gotten me out of my comfort zone. But in a nutshell, the biggest ones, the first lesson I've learned is that I have what it takes to accomplish anything I want to accomplish. Like my confidence is at that level. Not that doubt or fear never creeps in, but now I'm equipped and I know what to do with those thoughts. And I really do believe that I can accomplish whatever I want to accomplish. So I've learned that. I've learned not to compare my journey to somebody else's, because somebody who has amazing momentum right now, it literally means nothing for the long term. It means nothing. So don't look to the left or to the right, just stay in your lane. And I heard that as I was building my business, and I just thought, well, that's easier said than done, but it really is so true. It will rob you. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I feel like I probably could have had so much more peace along the way if I had not fallen into a comparison trap so often. So I learned not to compare, because my journey is going to look different than someone else's journey. And my journey is beautiful, and their journey also beautiful. Like all the stories are needed. All the struggles and the stories of like overcoming different obstacles, they're all needed. And so comparison is useless. It's so useless. I've learned to not assume that people know what I know. My biggest struggle as a leader is not knowing what my people don't know. This is why I'm a question asker. So I have learned to assume that just because I know something, or just because I got something out of a training, does not mean the next person got what I got out of it, or learn what I learned, or whatever, or that somebody is doing what I'm doing. Don't ever assume that your people know what to do with somebody on their products, or how to create business builders, or whatever. Don't assume that your people know anything. Assume that they're a blank slate, and you gotta give them the resources to be successful and teach them what they need to know. Okay. I've learned that the compound effect is real, and I've already talked about that. I've learned to trust myself, because as a type 6, where I'm a type 6 on the Enneagram, we are notorious for just second guessing ourselves and just not believing like whatever our gut instinct is telling us, or just not trusting ourselves. Like I might, if I was let's just say I was in a room of diamonds and a question was asked and I had an answer that was a smart answer, I would assume that everyone else in the room's answer is smarter than mine. But I've learned that that's not always the case, and that I should trust myself, because I usually do have smart things to say. And so like I said, it goes back to confidence. So I've learned that quick results mean nothing for the long term. Like, it's just because somebody is growing so fast, it doesn't mean that 5 years from now, their business is going to look like your business does if you're focused on different things like developing leaders or whatever. Okay. And then I've grown a ton in self-awareness. I've learned that I'm really good at developing culture and building leaders. So those are some of the biggest lessons that I have learned along the way.
Mm-hmm. So good. For the sake of moving on with time, what is your favorite part about Plexus?
You mean besides the paycheck and the trips and the shopping sprees and the trip to Portugal and doing life and business with like the best friends I've ever had in my entire life? Besides like doing work that's really fulfilling and satisfying and impacts so many people, I can't think of anything. I'm just kidding. I mean, I love all of it. I love the whole thing. I love that it's grown me. I love that it makes a difference in people's lives. I love that I get to make money helping people. That's really what I love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what does your life look like now? And is that all worth it?
So what my life looks like now is, it looks like I'm 37 years old and I have literally achieved everything I set out to achieve. When I started my business, I had a why, and it was big and huge, and I've accomplished all of it. And now I gotta have a new why. I do have new whys, but I mean, I definitely want more. But I feel very deeply fulfilled and satisfied with my life, and content, especially grateful. I would say more, the emotion that I feel the most day in and day out is just straight up gratitude. I wake up every morning in my bed in our new dream home that my husband built with his own hands, and I see the sunrise because the view is really nice. And I see the sun coming up, laying there with my husband, and I'm just like, thank you, God, for this life. Thank you, God, for this life. It's so good. My kids go to a school that is a really, really good school. It's wonderful to see my kids thriving in a community that they feel like they're a part of, and they're operating in their strengths and achieving things and accomplishing things. And all of that is because of this opportunity. If it weren't for Plexus, I'd still be way out in the country and my kids would not have near the amount of opportunity that they have now. So that is a fantastic feeling to know that I've been able to provide that for them. And I got to have a baby as a diamond. That's very special to me because it's very different. It's very, very different because the financial stress is not there, and I can buy her anything I want to buy her. And so that's a lot of fun, but it's also very different just because, like I said, it's just way less stressful, and I appreciate it so much more. I have the best friends that I got before I started Plexus. I mean, I had friends, but not like these friends. These friends are like family. They're like lifers. Like, our kids are growing up together. They're going to state competitions and winning first place in whatever area of their talent is in together. And like, we do life together, and we're here for each other, and we're building this dream together. Sometimes, to be honest, it all feels like a fairy tale. That's what it feels like. And was it worth it? 100,000%. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. I'm about to cry. People need to do this. Yes, it was worth it. It was worth pushing past my doubt and my fear and any sort of obstacle that I've hit along the way. And all the times I wondered, will I ever make it? Yeah, it was worth it. And I would do it again, and I'm going to do it again. So yes, it's a good life. You should all do it. And 1,000% is worth it.
Thank you, Brittney. This is why when you say we need everyone's stories, like everyone is different, right? We need everyone's obstacles and overcoming, because this is yours and it is incredibly inspiring. And I hope that you guys all can connect with her on a real level, as in this is someone who is like me, or there are people like me that are, successful in this business. And you straight up just made decisions to move forward, to learn and grow every day, decisions to not let your fears stop you, decisions to overcome. It's not like you didn't have the struggles, right? The problems that we all have. It's not like you just were given a magic ticket and you got lucky, right? You worked and you went through the things, and this is what is at the end, and it's not even the end, right? So I hope this is incredibly inspiring for all of you. I know it was for me, and I always love hearing from you and all of your wisdom that you share. Love you, girl. Thank you. Anything that you wanted to wrap up or end with?
Y'all all go be diamonds. Y'all need to be diamonds.
Yes.
That's it. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. See you all in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
Thanks, girl. Appreciate you so much. Thank you all for
right.
hopping on, and you all have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.